that popular music isn't just music, and it isn't just visuals, and it isn't just text. So in order to really think about how it functions in the world, we really do need people from all those different perspectives.
In addition to music theory and musicology, of course, ethnomusicology, English language studies, poetry, gender studies, race, virtually everything you can think of. It just intersects with so many other areas of scholarship.
This kind of research is not only valuable, but valued and necessary. The fact that we do this as our everydayness, as a form of research, as a particular methodology, was really eye-opening for most of the students.
I am my own special creation. So
global popular music doesn't make any sense outside of an interdisciplinary environment. You need to talk about the culture, where it's emanating from, the cultures as they interact. So in some sense it comes prepackaged as an interdisciplinary problem.
Basically what you confront immediately is like both the limitations of your own discipline and or the predictability of your own discipline.
As a younger student, I remember just feeling very, very insulated within the music school and not a ton of opportunities to really branch out and interact with other students doing entirely different things around the university.
Ed and I, my co-PI, knew that there were also a lot of humanists in the English department, in the anthropology department, in the history department, who were working on projects that were in some way about global popular music. So we thought we had a kind of a magic moment to put people together for about 4 years and see what they could teach each other, how they could bring their projects to fruition.
IU itself has a long storied tradition of hip-hop scholarship in the folklore and ethnomusicology department, but the Jacob School of Music didn't have really any intersections with hip-hop music. So that's what I've been spending most of my career doing, is analyzing hip-hop music and bringing it into sort of the musicology, music theoretical world as opposed to the ethnomusicological world. When I found out about the global pop music team, that just seemed like a perfect opportunity to intersect with some other scholars that were working around the university.
If it's a person coming from the Jacob School from a clearly kind of musicological or ethnomusicological background, the focus is going to go straight to the kind of musical aspects of the thing. An anthropologist is probably going to zoom out and think about it in a broader kind of social, cultural context, and so on.
I think that having the privilege to be involved in that brainstorming session from the very beginning meant that we were able to, I think, generate some synergies between faculty members across the different departments and explore a lot of ways to get beyond the disciplinary boundaries that we typically find ourselves confined to.
In our meetings, talk ranges from music to history to culture to the migration pattern of wildebeests. To talk about all those different kinds of things in the GPM group has really been wonderful.
That enables thinking outside the box, imaginatively, outside limitations of things like disciplinary boundaries and country boundaries, that have the freedom to explore intellectually outside of boxes and interconnect things, and then also then present in that same kind of mode was quite, I think, rejuvenating and beneficial for us in the work we were doing.
We've had a lot of graduate students. Over the 4 years, we've had more and more graduate students joining the ranks of the researchers, and it's been really, really rich. Everybody's gained by that. My favorite example, though, over the course of the 4 years has to do with sort of 3 generations of students. And I'm talking here about Kyle Adams, one of the faculty directors. His graduate student, Zach Zinzer, became a PhD. And Zach's student, an undergraduate, Jake Kutza, is now a researcher with us. And so there's a genealogy, if you like. And that's, when you're trying to set these things up and you're trying to understand why these things are valuable within a university setting, teaching and bringing up students and mentoring is the coin of the realm. I mean, it's magic stuff.
You go. You go. You go. You go. You go. You go. Chica. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it.
It dawned on me that it was a way or mechanism for me to do two things. One, to do this very valuable research, but two, as a way to share with my immediate students and students at large that this idea of research in dance was possible. They were very surprised that the act of dancing and the act of thinking through dancing could be a portal for research. Because that's not necessarily what they were taught. They were taught to be, book deep in a library somewhere or digging through some archive somewhere. Not that those aren't valid forms of research, they certainly are. But there's other kinds of research, again, that are just as valuable. So it really did surprise our students.
I think it's great to be able to bring scholars from across the campus together using resources that have been generously provided for us to just think and to sharpen and to observe the process of collaborative research, not just the written product, but the activation of space. We've been able to explore those ideas through the Musical Bodies Symposium.
The symposium has had the title of Musical Bodies since we settled on that, I think 11 months ago or something like that. And that allowed us to choose the researchers. And it's been really, really rich, much broader in application than at least I anticipated. It may be that the faculty director, Alisha Jones, knew all along that this was going to go in the directions that it's going in.
The Musical Bodies Symposium really was spawned from just thinking about ideas that emerged, various themes that emerged in our conversations 2 years prior as we've collaborated through this particular grant project.
I would say one thing that's really been fantastic about the platform experience is hearing about other people's projects and the ways in which that theme of moving bodies sort of, ricochets in so many different interesting ways. So I feel like I've found lots of sort of like interesting threads just from listening to other people's work.
If we're thinking about musical bodies in particular, humans as music creating beings exist in relations with lots of other types of bodies, right? And those can be other human bodies, those can be animal bodies, those can be plant bodies, they can be technological bodies, things like that. So it's ultimately about relationality at the end, right?
Ayana told me about the theme of embodiment and musical bodies, and my gears started to turn as a creative and figure out what music fits with that. And so I found these musical works that reflected the concept of birth, and then that also had resonance with my concept of the loss of innocence, the way in which Black queer youth begin to mask as early as elementary school to fit in.
We ended up with these multi-layered schemata that happens through the life cycle of the performance that I can also speak about through the individual works, but also through kind of the history of the way Black music has developed in this country.
It's a great time to be a part of the IU Black music research tradition. It runs deep. In general, the Black music researchers are representing this year with awards. So check out the Society for Ethnomusicology as well as the Society for American Music to see our presence in the field today.
I've been working as an Africanist in ethnomusicology for nearly 30 years now, and have done just a little bit in the area of music and health, but not a whole lot. And then 13 plus years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and so I used sound and music a lot in my experience with Parkinson's and my treatment of Parkinson's. And so the thought occurred to me that, I've got this expert in music and health and my student Ross, so let's just focus some time, we'll get together once a week and talk about Parkinson's and music and sound and health and see where it leads. And so that frame of musical bodies was kind of the spark that made me decide to enter into that line of research.
So much of my work really focuses on these connections, because of my interest in health, focuses on these connections of sound and the body. The connections have been amazing. this, especially coming from not just talking to ethnomusicologists, as I almost always do. It was really wonderful to see how other people are not only making these connections, but explicating them, working through them, analyzing them. It was very helpful.
I was very much struck by just the collegiality and the fellowship I was seeing in the room. I mean, I realized that a lot of the participants this time around were from Indiana. This is a project for Indiana University, but I was also seeing that folks they were hanging out together and they were enjoying it, and the conversations kept going after the panels, right? You and I and another one of the colleagues from the conference, Daniel Reed, we just sort of, took a break during the middle of that rather long session and came out and sort of talked to one another about how interesting it was that we weren't aware of that world, and how intriguing and mysterious and provoking and fascinating it was to have this privileged little window on it, right? So that's just one example of both the wonder of what was going on at the conference and also the conversations taking place, around it.
Another sort of advantage of this context, I guess, in this moment of this symposium was the openness of it in terms of the sort of presentational modes. Baba Stafford gave this wonderfully performative but also very intellectually enriching talk. Alisha Jones, incredible sort of interweaving of foodways and music and sound, and connecting it to everything from wet nursing to food competitions amongst soul singers, and just the openness in terms of performative modes, if you consider it as a performative mode, the academic lecture as one genre, the musical performance is another genre. All of it was kind of mixed up and in very interesting interdisciplinary ways, including the online discussion yesterday of sort of musical metaphysics, physics, and everything. So lots of different voices being heard and being heard in different ways, and I really appreciated that.
I was just trying to think about the number of different places that we've learned about. So this is called global popular music, and we really have had a kind of global reach. So here's the quiz. How many countries can you name that we have discussed?
Oh, jeez. Okay, well, so Indonesia, Uganda, right?
We had Azerbaijan. We had all of the ASEAN nations, right? So I don't remember all of them, but Vietnam was in there, Cambodia and Thailand and so forth.
Peru, from Mexico, from Jamaica.
Brazil.
Korea for sure.
The US of A. Where else?
Haiti, of course, yes, of course, Buchmann Experience, and the great work that Rebecca Dirksen has done.
I do have a long-term commitment to being involved in research in Haiti, which is also home for me as well. I would say that Buchmann Experience fits into this book as well, and so it was a great a pleasure and privilege to be able to bring them for a week-long residency to IU with significant assistance from Platform. And that week was just really a very, very special moment. We were able to coordinate it with the Society for Ethnomusicology conference in 2019. At the conference, we had a major concert and invited everyone across campus within the wider Bloomington community to come and join us for an evening with the band. We had 10 members of the band come up from Haiti, so that was a major endeavor to bring these colleagues to join us here in Bloomington. But I think that everybody really enjoyed that opportunity.
It's been very, very rich that way, and it's felt genuinely global. And both the difference that the globality of it really that brings forward that these are different situations, these are different musics, and the similarities, the continuities across the problems that reappear, if you like, in different settings and in different places. What I think that leaves me with is that the group, which of course changes through the years, but there's a strong core that's followed us through 4 years, have a lot of stick-to-itiveness. They're committed to this project. They're not just running away, and they're just making sure that we do the most we can in the time that we have.
I'm jealous, I'll say that. I'm envious of the fact that you have this opportunity that you're clearly making the most of in all kinds of ways. Sure, these days we always say, oh, it's interdisciplinary. In this case, I would say that what you have going on is even transdisciplinary. So congratulations on all of this.
We had so many people from so many different areas, and people who I probably wouldn't have otherwise reached out to as kindred spirits at Indiana University. That to me has just been a really special part of the group.
I'm really grateful and appreciative of this moment and of the opportunity to do the research, because again, for me, it's research that I've been wanting to do, but also because from dance literacy and literacy about embodiment and performance and music and all of those connective branches of what we do culturally are part of my larger mission that fall under embodiment and dance literacy.
I think it's been really interesting because there are so many different people from different parts of campus, right? And as a visiting person, it's been really valuable to me to just have, at minimum a little bit of network with other people across campus, and even more so with people who have research interests that are related to mine, but in very tangential ways.
I haven't had that much experience with collaborative research because in musicology, we don't even often do joint authorship kinds of projects. And I started getting interested in collaborative work last year, so being able to be involved with this project was kind of the perfect timing. And I just learned so much from hearing everybody else's work, and it's been a real influence on my thinking process.
I mean, I think there really is something special about this openness. There is a frame. We're all interested in studying music. We're all interested in how that music affects people. But when we started our project of doing research is one thing, but when we decided that we were going to do this as a lecture here, we didn't have any walls. Mm-hmm. So everything that happened was truly emergent.
I think it's so important to enliven our spaces and give people a sense of what can be made when we are able to take the focus off fundraising and get to imagine and create a little bit.